Hello folks,
Hello.
Finn back here from Wandering to Wellness and Lydia, and today we have a very special guest, Mr. Takashi Miyazaki. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's really exciting. I think this is part of our August food trail. Maybe we're most excited about because I think actually the hairs are standing up at the back of my neck now. We've just had a tiny sample of your 12-day aged tuna steak with delicate shades of truffle, and was it a soy sauce?
Yeah.
And even that tiny morsel is such a suggestion of the level of attention and care and innovation that's going on within your mind and your food world. So, I mean, you've just set up this restaurant, which is your second enterprise in Cork.
Yes.
And how does it feel to have this? Does it feel like something's blossoming? What's like?
It's very happy, and I feel like this is my dream.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's been 3.5 years for another restaurant and takeaway, tiny place, and then we started like more promos on Japanese cuisine, Japanese culture, technique like that.
Do you think you were like a bit ahead of the curve when you say people are kind of like more interested in it now? When you set up the Takashi, the original restaurant and takeaway, was there a lot of like resistance to it, or were people like? I mean, Cork people are quite progressive with food, right? You're probably in a good city for if you're going to do something, you know, that people aren't familiar with.
Yeah, that was challenge, but why I choose Cork was such as artisan products.
Okay.
And I'm from south in Spain, and I want to stay in the south west, and I feel like kind of same feeling. Yeah,
really?
when I visit the Cork, and my hometown, it's called Fukuoka, is a kind of compact city, but still like a good population. But there's the ocean, there's a mountain nature, and you don't need to drive so far. And then
there's some parallels.
And your dream to set up this place, can you explain a little bit for our listeners what's different about this place, the style of cuisine specifically?
This is like, I always wanted to go more casual restaurant. As like it's called izakaya. It's like tapas, and people having many different dishes that we always share, and you just keep drinking beer and chat like that. But when I started like promos Japanese cuisine, and I at the same time I was learning. I'm still learning, and then more Japanese technique. I know how to do it, but exactly I can't explain why. Kind of science wise, but so this is kind of demanded, like people ask. Yeah, you have to go this way. If you go, and I'm not young, so I think this is gonna be my last one. So
what?
No.
No. Whoa. There's another 20 years before you get to say that.
No, I'm not young enough.
Are you? You must be. You're older than you look then, because
yeah, Japanese Asian people always look young, like. But anyway, so this is, as I said, this is a dream. Is like this is everything from my passion, my skill, technique. I want to put everything in it. So, and then came across like
this is it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most stunning dining room you guys are unfortunately not getting to see, but it's equal layers, kind of quiet and loud. There's so much that speaks about a Japanese influence. To be honest with you, you can't deny it. I mean, my favorite architect in the world is Tadao Ando, and his the island museum that he has. You know, the gallery where it's shards cut into the land, and as you walk through the gallery, it's only lit by natural light. So as you walk through the gallery, you get just whatever the sun is providing that day, and that's it. When it gets dark, there's nothing there, and it feels. You have some of that play with light in here, where there's like you're allowing the elements still to kind of take part in what's happening, which is clearly what's happening in the food as well. You're fermenting things. There's a little bit of unknown about it as well. Do you like? I mean, the precision of Japanese cooking, I feel, is always kind of in stark contrast to that sort of playful unknown aspect, because it's almost Germanic insofar as you have the delicacy of each cut, the choice of the specific vegetable and the specific pairing of flavors. But then there's this creative, playful thing happening as well. Do you find a happy balance between the two? Are you more comfortable in one or the other? Have you always kind of pushed an envelope?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Sorry. Do you so with Japanese food there seems to be like this precision, but also what you're doing here is to a large degree like there's some unknowns.
It's like
So
playful and fun, and the fact that you're on show and they get to see the colours. Are you more comfortable with the precision and the knife work and the science side, or the fun side?
Yeah, fun side. Yeah.
So you're not challenged by that you embrace that. Yeah.
Kind of that was normal where I grew up as a chef in Japan, and I was behind the counter.
Okay.
And I have experienced in a very high-end hotel, and still I was behind the counter, and also more casual restaurant like a tapas place, like Japanese style of it, and I was still behind the counter. They always look at, they always chatting, and there's no hide.
Okay.
Everyone can see it,
And it's a performance.
It's performance as well. Yeah.
Good stuff. And so your training in Japan, did it give you a lot of what you have now, or do you find it like, I mean, you're a Japanese chef, but you're obviously fairly divided from what's happening in Japan because you're here. Do you find, has your cuisine changed, or are you still going home to learn techniques from Japan, or are you trying to bring other things in? Or?
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But I have basic skill. I have the
basic.
Okay. I have experience from I use my my grandmother's recipe and stuff like this.
Okay.
Because my palate remember that.
Yeah.
So I try to make same taste, the same texture as my grandmother used to make.
Hey. Okay.
So that's my childhood memory got into the menu as well.
And can you give us an idea of something specific that your grandmother made that? Really
stew dish.
Okay.
Yeah. Stew dish is one of my favorite cooking skill because you could see after 45 minutes stewed, and then things start changing, and then what temperature, and control the temperature, and then control the color. It depends on what ingredients you use, and then always different way.
Okay.
So stewing dish is quite beautiful, right?
Yeah. And so when we say stew in Ireland, it means a very different thing. Can you describe what sort of things are going into a stew, an Irish stew? Barley, etc.
I was the head chef in an Irish restaurant in Japan.
Oh, really?
I was serving Irish food for 5 years.
Okay.
I got trained the chef from Galway.
That's funny.
She's there a month, like in Japan, and then so I know how to cook
Irish stew. No, that's funny.
My Irish stew is quite good.
Yeah. And what's the Japanese stew?
Well, Japanese stew is like the base we use all about the dashi base. The made from kombu, and finish up the bonito flake, and then there's a basic dashi, and if you use pork for that, and what type of dashi will you use? But basics is the same, but soak the kombu a little bit longer, like that, and then a little bit bonito flake. Maybe don't use much bonito flake because itself ingredients is a strong flavor. Yeah. You don't need to use it. Just keep the balance of it. And in the stew, try to keep the 3 elements about the acid, which is the 3 different acid is the key of the keep the balance in
so
there.
3 different acidities.
Yeah.
So I mean, from chefs I talk to in Ireland, we talk about acid and salt and sweet, but we don't talk about, we don't break down the acidity so much.
So the 3 one is such as glutamic acid.
Okay.
That's the kind of umami sweetness. The glutamic is a massive one.
So
but such
tomatoes
as mainly from the seaweed or vegetables.
Okay.
And inosinic acid, which is the acid from animal.
Okay.
So chicken, pork, they are inosinic acid. Yeah. And then another one is ghialinic acid, which is from mushroom.
Okay.
So those 3 elements keep the triangle. The triangle shape go that way. That's why. Because with the main ingredients of what is. So that's I kind of remember.
That's how your palate.
Palate
was changed.
Yeah.
And so when you trained, when did you decide to become a chef then? When you how early on in life did you know that cooking was going to be your more than just a passion?
The first I started cooking when I was a university student, and I started cooking for my friends, and they say thank you, and then cook again, and then okay, I cook and you buy beer,
Yeah.
or something like this.
That's a familiar exchange.
Yeah, and at that time I was going to, trying to be the police officer because my parents wanted to be, but I couldn't say no. But now this time, like when I start cooking and it's fun, they say thank you. That was like, I feel like, oh great.
Wow.
I give them something, they say thank you, and I feel like a Santa or something.
Of course, yeah, for sure. Okay. Cool.
So that was kind of became my habit. And I quit my university, and then I started working in a 5-star hotel.
And how did your parents feel about that when you quit university?
They were shocked, but when I was a high school student, I wanted to be an artist painter.
Okay.
And they said no, because I got the scholarship with my martial arts, so to become police officer.
Yeah.
And so my parents said no at that time, but this is the second time I said no.
Put your foot down.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they are not really happy.
Okay.
But now they're super happy.
Good stuff. So much so that your mum sends you this beautiful thing.
Yeah, she keeps sending these things. This is actually from the paper.
I wonder. Okay. Yeah.
And you told us that it's sometimes in the moon is a certain.
Yeah, when it's a full moon, you can see it in the pattern of the looks like a rabbit making that.
Get it?
Yeah.
I totally
You do like
get
this
it.
and then
Yeah.
Sometimes
Nice.
So it's the rabbit making mochi.
Mochi, yeah.
Mochi,
Yeah.
Cool. That's gorgeous. So you started working in the 5-star hotel, and this was, what style of food was that?
That was actually the basically like French cuisine.
Okay.
And then, well, I was in the teppanyaki restaurant.
Yeah. Okay.
And just a man-to-man service, and that was high-end as well. Like we used A5 Wagyu beef and cooking in front of the customer, and just passing straight away, and that was great.
And is it the same process as in Ireland? Sorry, that you have. You work your way up as a commis chef. I know you don't have the same systems in Japanese restaurants, do you? In terms of that structure,
they have
or do you?
in the hotel especially. They have a commis chef or chef de partie. We have they are following those because we are kind of French section.
Okay.
That's why that story was. So
Gotcha.
I wasn't in the Japanese kitchen then.
Okay.
So Japanese kitchen has some different title of as commis chef or something like that. But I haven't learned from them, so I was very, very new and I got no experiences. I was really bad. Really.
Okay. Like, as in a lot of mistakes that would turn you off doing it, or did your mistakes just make you more enthusiastic to learn and more?
Yeah, I did something like a unusual mistake.
Okay, go on.
Now, very embarrassing, but that was experience too.
Yeah.
And I have no idea about the ingredients, my boss said, I bring this one, and I brought a totally different one.
God. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, we all have those things. I remember working early.
We do need it.
Yeah.
That's the learning, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I used to work in a car dealer's when it was my first job when I was maybe 15 or 16, and they sold some really lovely cars, and there was an old Ferrari there one time, and he asked me to watch the inside. Like we would quite often just have to watch the cars, and I took out. I don't remember what it was, but I should have asked him what I used to wash it. But I washed the leather seats in the wrong thing, and I didn't destroy them, but I never did it again. Put it that way.
Yes.
The embarrassment as well. Like when somebody who you respect is not good, eh? But you obviously your passion drove you to deepen that.
Yeah, still, I wanted to be something, make tasty food.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not like, it's not the style but just tasty food.
Yeah. Okay.
How do I make it a tasty food? Just remember when you go to a restaurant or someone may cook the really good tasty food. Just remember that.
Yeah.
And why? What's the combination like?
Yeah. It really gets your juices going. Yeah. So you were going to be an artist, and then you became a chef. And the kaiseki style that you're in at the moment is kind of a fusion, really, is it? To some degree, it feels like it anyway. There's a lot of art on the plate, right?
Very happy I am actually. Just a plating dish is like a painting on the dish, and then also you can taste it.
Exactly.
So it's
better.
better.
3 dimensions, 4 dimensions.
And do you? I know a lot of chefs, they like to link their food to memories, or they like to link their food to experiences that they've had, and they want it to be their food and they want it to look beautiful, but they wanted to evoke that for people. Is that something that's important to you?
It's very important, I say. Yeah, it's just a memory, and then try to make it again, or something memory, the childhood memory, and that's very important for me.
Yeah.
It's not different. Copying and developing different, there's a trend, but try to not follow too much. That's going to be copied, and just more develop, and then with someone's passion, and then which I feel like wow, and then
So recently, you said you started working with truffles really recently. Are there other ingredients that you've come across? You go, wow, this is something where there's an unexpected.
Yeah, many things actually. Yeah.
Any examples?
Ooh.
Sorry.
Actually, Miyazaki menu is like a kind of few things. Is a massive hit menu dish. Is actually from staff lunch. That, I try to make it. Yeah, exactly. Okay. For example, we have lemon ramen. And use the Irish, the stock, the pork and stock, and I from Fukuoka, which is the tonkotsu ramen.
Yes,
that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
My hometown.
Wow.
But now tonkotsu ramen everywhere, worldwide, like. Yeah. But I don't make the tonkotsu ramen in Miyazaki. I make a lemon ramen. That was kind of mixture of it, and there's not much such as lemon ramen. I just finished up the lemon zest and the lemon slice of lemon, and it came up, and then I was like, wow! I was saying,
one of these moments. Nice. It's lovely to get a chance to play. I think that's one of the things. So the kaiseki style that you do here, can you describe a little bit what that means to our listeners? And you briefly spoke off camera about the different elements of kaiseki, and there's actually the divisions within it that we don't know.
Kaiseki menu, of course, is in Japanese cuisine just about seasonal. So we just follow up seasonal ingredients in Japan and seasonal ingredients in Ireland. So that's what we follow. So when I make a 12-course menu, I pick up the seasonal menu in Ireland and then in Japan, and then we just mix together. If it's worked, it's great. And but big difference is there's no 4 season, exactly 4 season in Ireland. Yeah. But it's supposed to be we work with the calendar as well. So this is supposed to be like, for example, 3 months early summer, 1.5 months, and after that late summer menu. Like we work with this. And I picked up some seasonal ingredients, and then there's story in 12-course menu. So I try to make a story of it, the story of the temperature, story of seasonal ingredients, and then story of texture, and then flavor, and then those different theme, and then come together, and then that's my 12-course.
That's the play.
Yeah, nice. With lots of local ingredients. And
when you're making, because some people get to sit at the bar, right beside you at the chef's table. Do you explain to them where your inspiration comes from, or why are you choosing these things, and how do they relate?
I do. Because they want to know. Yes. So I got a quite good question from the guest, and also when I serve it, and I just where the source from, why I use that, why mix with this one, and sometimes people ask, sometimes I tell them.
You tell them. I think that's so nice, because often when you go to fine dining restaurants, there's this feeling that maybe there's an elitism that if you don't know that ingredient, or you don't know the history, you kind of feel like you're ignorant and that you don't want to ask. But when you're really excited about food, like we are, you want to know all the ingredients and why are they there, and how can I combine them, and what can I do to make it exciting at home. It's nice for it to be a learning.
It's very, very good opportunity, and this is very close to the guest, and talk and giving tip.
And I bet for you there's a feedback, like you're saying, your first experience of really thinking about being a chef was cooking for your flatmates and them saying, "Oh, thank you," and here you're getting that feeling of instant feedback of making the food and then watching people eat it and seeing them. Oh my God, it's so amazing.
Sometimes like we're kind of laughing about it. You know, it's like a film, like a funny situation. Like I say, "Thank you so much," and then some person, "No, thank you."
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's so funny. It's like a film or something.
That's gas.
Yeah.
So with your cuisine in here, do you have I was actually asking you break down the kaiseki thing. So you were saying there's different versions of kaiseki. Yours is is it a little bit less formal than some, or how does it fit? You have some where there's tea served alongside foods, and how do they break down? Can you explain some of the kind of the discipline around kaiseki, other than the 12 courses, or is that the main definition? Or
normally I say kaiseki is 9, 10.
Okay.
But here, just as I said, this is it. So I want to do everything. So basically, you try to keep the 12-course menu, but it depends on season and the ingredients. Sometimes if I go for pricey ingredients, might be 11 course. I have to keep the balance anyway. But I always say, like, if I open Ichigo Ichie in Japan, it won't be like that unique.
Interesting,
because all the ingredients are gonna be Japanese. Because we have brilliant, variety of the vegetables and mushrooms. But here, like Irish ingredients and somewhere from Europe ingredients, and I give them the Japanese techniques. That's
the idea. So if you were in Japan now, you're obviously in a different season to us. So in Ireland, we obviously have salady things in the summer and stewy things in the winter. What's the definition of seasonal food where you come from? How do the seasons affect what you eat?
Summertime, we are lucky we got great summer, so I could keep that as early summer and late summer.
Nice.
Thing is, spring is all the petal or flower, buds season, and then light color, and so stew dish is like a really light, and but still you see like a bland because the color is really clear. But there's umami and stuff there is. So it's getting darker and darker, and then the summertimes we kind of use the ingredients kind of like sticky ingredients in Japan from the heat. So from the heat you lose your appetite. So it's more easy to eat and easy to digest. And autumn, it's getting ready for cold weather. So it's going to be more comfort. And the winter is more darker. And also get ready for the New Year's, which is New Year's is going to be our biggest. So it's going to be more kind of the gorgeous ingredients that end of the year. Well done, happy celebration exactly.
Nice.
And after winter, like January before the next spring, kind of root vegetables. Winter season, because autumn season, autumn leaf going to the ground and the soil and the nutrients and great, power have the soil, and then that's why the root vegetables are really tasty in the winter season.
Nice.
So they all go around.
That's the rhythm.
Around like that. And then follow that with the trail menu.
That's amazing.
God,
It's so different to our idea of seasonal food as well, because for us, a stew is a winter thing, as opposed to making the pattern of your stew follow the colours around you, and that's phenomenal. That's so far out of our regular kind of cuisine over here, or our expectations anyway. Can you tell me, in terms of misos and soya sauces, do you use them, like a lot of different versions of them? Do you stick to one because you like it? Can you explain a little bit because I know there's a lot of characters within different misos, within different soy sauces that maybe in Ireland we have one idea of.
We use soy sauce 1, 2, 3 three different types of soy sauce we have.
Okay.
The dark soy sauce, the light soy sauce, and the white soy sauce. It depends on what way you use, and then color of the dish too. And we use each different dish. And miso, mainly we use the rice miso.
Okay.
Because
White rice?
white, and then for the miso soup we have a red miso,
Okay,
based from the rice. A bit difference is like I shouldn't use much wheat miso.
Okay.
But personally, I love wheat miso.
Okay.
But there's the gluten-free issue.
Yes.
You know, the senior guests, they can't have that.
Yeah.
So kind of avoid.
Okay.
Try to not put all the wheat in the kitchen.
Is that becoming an issue in Japan? Actually, is
No,
celiac not
we
at all?
don't have any.
It's zero. Isn't
Zero.
that so interesting? We're plagued with it in Ireland at the moment, and in Europe in general. It's fascinating. But yeah, so it's like misos are amazing to me. Like last year, I was lucky enough to have a miso making workshop with Junko Hamilton. I don't know if you've come across. It was so special.
Junko.
You know Junko, okay, yeah.
Yes.
And it gave me just a tiny flavour of how, how much food in Japan has like culture and food are actually the same thing. It's not we describe it as like you have a food culture and art culture, whatever, but food and culture is kind of it. And it's this idea of fermentation and this family idea around food is just so strongly held. There's a word that I can't remember. You'll be able to help me with when families come together to make their miso. There's a word for the type of culture that comes from the family because you all have your hands involved in it. I can't remember what it was. But it was beautiful to kind of feel that how there was a feeling that it's going to be food that you store, like it's seasonal, it's going to be ready for you for the next year, and B, that it was like there's such a strong family culture around coming together to make that and to enjoy that. And I think over here we don't make food together, we eat food together, but we don't have that making kind of culture. Did you have a strong kind of food making culture with your family when you were growing up? Or?
Yeah, my granny she made a miso. She made the pickles, like the fermentation things, because I think that was one of Japanese culture. Like they are trying to keep the food in the storage, and that the sushi came up from. The sushi was like there is no fridge at that time.
Okay.
I didn't know that either.
That's why how they keep the.
That's the function
fish.
of the nari, or the function of the curing of the fish, or what's the aspect of the?
For sushi rice, making sushi rice, they mix with vinegar, and
that stabilizes, of course.
That's the thing. That's why you have to keep that fresh and then without fridge, and then still get nice meal. That's why sushi came up from on the street food.
That was its origin. I never knew that. Wow,
and then keep the fish. Try to get the fish. There was ice in a box.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's rich, but it's very natural ice, And then if you get the vinegared rice, it's more safe.
Yeah, of course.
And then fermentation is storage, for the next season or something like. If it's fresh, I always say I don't do fermenting everything all the time.
Okay.
Because if it's fresh, eat that.
Pickle
it. It's better.
Okay.
So, it depends on what way you do.
What you're doing.
Yeah.
And so with fermentation, do you have so you're fermenting, say, bluefin tuna in here? Are there any other kind of fermentation or particular kind of techniques like that?
Yes, giving aging. The aging is to get the it's great umami flavor and also texture as well. Nicely set.
Yeah.
But kind of we call bluefish. It's like a mackerel. And mackerel, I won't go for Asian. It's risky. And
is it? Okay.
Yeah, I do pickle it.
Okay, interesting. Mackerel season is in West Cork is kind of now, isn't it?
It's coming up.
It's coming up. Yeah. Because I was fishing off the coast of Wales a couple of weeks ago when it was mackerel season over there. It was my first time actually fishing mackerel.
Oh yeah.
It's not even fishing. It's ridiculous.
Digging,
exactly. It's ridiculous when the season is on. So will you be putting mackerel on the menu when it comes in season down here?
I'm thinking about the winter season and a stew dish. I stew with a miso. That's a more kind of darker.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you showed us this beautiful thing that you were doing with the oysters.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
And that is a couple years ago. I just kind of, we are so familiar, like it's called kobujime. It's a kombu cured, and cured in kombu. And normally we do like the bream fish we do. Yeah. Sometimes we do cure the vegetable in kombu.
Okay.
Yeah. I never done the oyster. Like oyster is itself full of umami in it, and mineral. Like, it's really strong as that size. And I was like, oh, if I cure it in kombu, it's gonna be destroy or something. And then I tried it, and I was like, oh wow, that's great.
Nice.
And then okay.
And it's kind of like a ceviche style, isn't it? A ceviche idea. Do you do anything like that? Do they do pickling like that style of it as well with fish and stuff, or not so much? Kombu is the standard one, because I'm going to start curing fish with kombu. Like I'm excited to try that.
Yeah, if you do like I do monkfish as well.
Okay,
but when I do monkfish, it's just a roll.
That must take a long time to cure.
3 nights.
Okay.
Yeah, I did 3 nights, but still I don't put the salt.
Don't need it.
I think kombu has the mineral. So actually, you can get the saltiness as well.
They say there's the white powder that kind of coats the kombu is like it contains an enzyme that breaks down proteins. I think there's something that isn't there.
That's one of the umami.
Okay, that white thing. Okay,
so try to not take off all the white things. Yeah, but you need to kind of clean it.
Yeah.
So when you get the dry kombu, just a wet towel and just wipe it.
Okay. So don't rinse it on the sink. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. If you take those white powder, it's one of the umami. So
bang on. Go on.
Do you have any favorite vegetables that you like working with?
That's tough.
Daikon.
Daikon. I was hoping you would say that.
Daikon is amazing. Actually, they are enjoying, how many different ways daikon you can cook, and then also daikon cook with octopus, or that makes tender, because that's the daikon's one of the ingredients, and they makes
one of those enzymes of some sort that breaks it down, kind of like the kombu. Interesting. I never knew that before.
Probably, if you check that maybe YouTube or something and Japanese chef cook the octopus. We have massive octopus, and they have daikon, and they just beat them.
Really?
Okay. Like the way we rub a steak with garlic, it's the same idea. The cysteine or whatever, is it? Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, and then daikon grate it and steam it, and then you make like a mochi. That's why daikon is got type of same family of turnip, and then you find what temperature you steam it, how long, and then they become like together. It's like a cake. Yeah. Oh wow. Rice. Okay. It's like a rice cake. Right?
Wow. Oh, we have sushi rice in the car. We might go and cook that when we go home.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
That's how you daikon. Even like the daikon itself, like cut that much, and then just daikon to cook nice clear daikon.
Yeah.
You have to use the water after you wash the rice.
Okay.
And so rice starch makes the daikon the color keep clear and also nice and juicy.
Okay.
Or if you don't have the water, and just 1 gram of the rice put into the
and pop it in with
and then just cook 45 minutes and then clear and straight away cold water wash well.
Okay.
So daikon is
really
changing like amazing.
Sometimes it helps cooking other ingredients. Sometimes the other ingredients cook it. Yeah.
And the pickle, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Beautiful texture.
Daikon's absolutely gorgeous. Nice. And do you have any like chefs in Ireland that you follow, that you kind of like what they're doing, that you see kind of creative, interesting things happening that you're influenced by, or where do you like to eat if you're going to eat at another? I know this is difficult, but try.
I worked with the Damien of the Herring Grey.
Oh yeah.
That was on a charity in Galway, and what he does, his cooking theory is very interesting.
Okay.
And I think he has kind of the balanced way, umami balanced way. As I say, I use the three elements.
Yeah.
I think in his head and palate he has it. And
Oh,
I
wow.
tasted his food. It's just oh god, his palate is perfect. Like,
Oh wow,
Really?
cool. That's exciting.
So what he does, like he does foraging and he does.
Yeah.
I think one of the it's great. You know, super
That's
strange shape, like you know.
Yeah, super strange is the word.
Cool, like you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love that the unpredictability around foraging as well, and I mean you used to hear about it maybe a little bit more in, say, in English pub restaurants almost, like where they're in the middle of the countryside and somebody would knock up on the back door with a brace of rabbits
Yeah.
they've shot or whatever, and that decides what the lunch is.
Yeah.
I like that unpredictability with foraging, but it must be so challenging to have a kitchen where you suddenly have to like, okay, I've got 45 guest book. Where am I going to find my woodruff today, or what? You know,
Yeah.
it's a big challenge. Do you harvest like seaweed or anything like that? Can you make time for any of those?
when I go to the beach summertime and I bring the kids and just kids running around and I got the bag and I just go. Yeah.
That's
If
not
I have
too bad.
you have to see a nice in the season or
Nice.
Yeah, tide is.
Yeah.
If it's tide is good, and sometimes I bring my son Sean
Yeah.
and just show around. Like,
Good stuff.
What's that?
Is he into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But every time when I take in acid, he's like, "What's that? What's
Yeah,
that?"
great.
And
It's a great way to
That's
start.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll build memories for him as well.
Exactly.
You know that's happening.
Exactly.
What sort of food do you cook for your kids at home? Japanese or Irish?
Oh, I cook for my kids. I always cook Japanese dashi dish.
Okay.
Really?
With dashi with the rice and dashi with the soba noodle, buckwheat noodle, and they love it.
Really?
Yeah.
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 Noodles are such a childhood wonderment kind of food, aren't they? That sucking a noodle through your mouth
Yeah.
is like, you never get over that. I don't think as an adult as well. And
It's
always,
so textural and
Absolutely.
so playful. It's that same
Yeah,
thing.
it
It's
is,
the first
yeah.
experience of being allowed often to make a noise at the table.
Yeah.
Because so usually it's all like, use your knife and fork, keep your
Yes.
elbows off the table, do
Yeah,
the thing, and
yeah.
then suddenly you have noodles and everyone's like, suck them. And
Yeah.
everyone makes this noise and
Yeah.
kids are like, oh, I'm allowed. I'm allowed to make
it's
the
kind
noise.
of messy. Yeah.
And I think that's this sense of play that you have here, that people are allowed to get excited like kids about food again, that they're seeing colours on their plate, they're feeling textures that they've never felt, they're tasting things that they've never felt, or tasting something that looks like something else but then makes something exciting happen in your palate. And I think when you get that experience of that kid-like wonder again, it's just a magical thing. Like,
I think so. Yeah.
and the name of your restaurant, can you tell us?
Ichigo Ichie. Ichigo is one chance and Ichie one meeting. So one chance, one meeting is once in a lifetime.
Once in a
Hey.
lifetime.
Is it reflecting on your thoughts about when people eat here, or is it broader to say about we have one shot at this life, give it your best? What's the?
It's like there's no same experience. Like so, I think for me, like if you come back here for the food and you had the food, and then maybe after 2 months later you come back here, there is no such the same experience, even like the same people.
Yeah.
I mean, like every time when you have experiences, I appreciate for that every moment. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. It's from the tea master. It's called Sen no Rikyu, and he sang that.
Really?
And I loved it. The idea.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think I like to be mindful around food is something we're beginning to cop on to. Like people are being taught to chew their food. Mindful eating practices are kind of coming back to to absorb. There's amazing little statistic where if we take, I think it's less than a minute, like 20 seconds, to look at our food, think about food, smell the food before we eat it. It's called this cephalic phase, that we increase the production of enzymes by up to 70%. So we're like, our body is saying, oh, okay, now I'm ready. We're not like having a sandwich on the computer or doing other things. Like, oh, now we can actually embrace it. Now it's, and there's so much that, you know, if your physiology is going to reward you by digesting it, it makes sense that we should like take that opportunity, like you're saying, and like treat it as a moment in itself.
And I think it's also the movement now towards people going back towards foraging and meeting their producers, connecting to the land. It's all feeding into that mindful thing, and if you're going to be doing that, it's just naturally part of the process of mindful eating, isn't it? Of going, where did this come from? Why did I choose that producer? Am I using local ingredients? Are they seasonal? Why is seasonal important to me? And once you take the time that's put into that food to sit down and look at a plate that someone's actually thought about that stuff, it enables you to be more mindful about what you're eating and just being like grateful for the bounty that's there.
Absolutely. Very good. Yeah. And do you like, have you had like experiences back in Japan since you've been cooking here that have kind of made you realize like that things have kind of come to a, like that you're doing the right thing for yourself, or that you know that kind of makes sense of where you are now in your life? Or
I think I always believe this is my mission.
Okay, so that's the word ikigai? Is it
Ikigai?
Yeah.
Oh, ikigai.
Yeah.
So ikigai.
That's it. That's the same thing, isn't it?
Ikigai desu. Hi.
Nice. Okay. I think it's a good
That's
moment
a
to end.
perfect place.
And it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so
thank
much.
you so much.
It's great to get to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very
Share your
enjoyable.
ideas.
Yeah, great.
Cool, and best of luck with this. I mean, like I don't think it needs luck. I think it has all the right elements. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
So,
Great.
But we'll be back, and we will book in advance.
And we will eat everything.
No choice menu, so.
That's what we want. It's great. Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. So you guys, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and post your comments. And you can obviously find Takashi Miyazaki at his takeaway, where you don't so much have to book in. In fact, there's no bookings.
No bookings.
He does a lunch and an evening. We're going to see if we can get across there for a bit of lunch this afternoon to take with us back on the road to Dublin. And if you want to go on to Ichigo Ichie, you find that on ichigoichie.ie, or is it?
Ichigo.ie. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, great. Nice one. Okay, so book nice and early then.
Do.
Debbie, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.